Welcome to today's deep dive. Usually, when we think about a fire, we just kind of picture a single point on a map.
Right, like a house or a specific block of forest.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
focus your hoses, you put it out, and the map goes back to normal.
It's a contained problem.
Right. But what happens when the map itself is basically on fire?
Well,
Like when it's not just one spot, but the entire landscape is just lighting up all at once.
then you aren't just fighting a fire anymore, you're fighting a multi-front war.
Yeah. And according to this August 2026 National Wildfire Report, that is exactly where the U.S. is right now. We're at preparedness level 5.
Which is the absolute highest state of alert possible.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this because the raw stats alone are they're hard to process. Firefighters are currently battling 86 uncontained large fires. There are over 22,000 personnel deployed. And, 7.8 million acres have burned so far this year.
It's just massive.
Yeah, just for perspective, 7.8 million acres is roughly the size of Maryland.
Wow. And, deploying 22,000 personnel, it isn't just about handing out hoses and shovels.
Right. Of course not.
You are instantly having to manage the supply chains, communications, and basically the staging of a pop-up city.
Small city, yeah.
Exactly. Right in the middle of extremely hazardous and often roadless terrain.
Which really makes me wonder, with resources stretched this thin across 86 of these megafires, how are we even finding enough specialized people to run these operations?
Well, by pulling from outside the usual channels, what's fascinating here is we're seeing a major international and military mobilization.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for instance, the report notes 270 fire line management personnel who actually flew in from Australia and New Zealand.
Wait, really?
Yeah, just to support the Northwest and Great Basin areas.
Wait, 270 personnel from across the planet. I get that it's a global effort, but doesn't flying in firefighters from Australia pose huge logistical hurdles?
You mean like with the terrain?
Yeah, because they don't know the local terrain in Oregon or Washington.
Yeah. Right. Well, it would be a nightmare if they were just dropped blindly onto a fire line with a Pulaski, but they aren't.
Okay.
What's really fascinating here is how standardized the incident command systems have become globally.
Oh, I see.
So an operations chief from, say, New South Wales can plug directly into a U.S. command tent because they use the exact same organizational structure.
And terminology, probably.
Exactly, yeah. They manage the logistics and strategy, which frees up the local crews who actually know the lay of the land to do the physical fighting.
Ah, so it's like a structural plug and play.
Yeah, precisely.
That makes sense. Well, the report also mentions tapping the military. I think there are 240 U.S. Army soldiers from Joint Base Lewis McChord on the ground.
Yes, at the Little Giant Fire in Washington.
Right. Plus, there's major aerial support from MAF-FS C-130 military air tankers in Oregon and California. Yeah. And I saw that acronym, MAF-FS. What makes those different from a standard water bomber?
Well, standard water bombers are, they're purpose-built for fires. MAFFS stands for Modular Airborne Firefighting System. It basically turns a standard military cargo plane into a giant flying fire engine.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, they slide this massive pressurized tank system into the back of a C-130, which allows it to drop 3,000 gallons of retardant in under 10 seconds.
Wow, that is fast.
It is. And then when the fire season slows down, they just slide the tank out and the plane goes back to hauling troops or cargo.
Okay, so we have this standardized global management and modular military planes. But if we have all this high-level support, why are we still losing ground so badly in the Pacific Northwest?
Well,
Because here's where it gets really interesting. I was looking at the numbers for Oregon and Washington, and I honestly had to reread them.
they're staggering.
Yeah. Oregon's Big Grass Fire is sitting at nearly 580,000 acres. That single fire is almost the size of Rhode Island.
Yeah, the Pacific Northwest is the undisputed epicenter of this crisis right now.
And the report uses the term group torching to describe the fire behavior there, along with uphill runs.
Right.
And that's when a whole cluster of trees simultaneously explodes into flames from radiant heat rather than just, a slow burn. What's actually happening in the atmosphere to cause that kind of violence?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the fires have tapped into a perfect atmospheric engine.
Okay.
In the Northwest right now, temperatures are pushing 95 degrees, but the real catalyst is the humidity dropping to between 8 and 20%.
So the vegetation is literally just baking dry.
Exactly. And when you mentioned radiant heat earlier, this is where it connects.
Oh.
In an environment that dry, a fire doesn't just burn what it touches, it superheats the air around it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it creates its own wind currents, drawing in more oxygen, which is why you see whole stands of trees combusting at once.
That is terrifying.
It really is. And then you add in dry lightning storms, where lightning strikes but the rain evaporates before it even hits the ground.
Right.
And you get rapid, explosive expansion.
So what does this all mean for the people actually living in the path of these engines? Because the national numbers are vast, but the local impact is so immediate.
Absolutely.
Like in California, the timber fire is making rapid uphill runs toward residences. And then in New Mexico, the Frijoles fire is actively threatening crucial communications infrastructure.
Yeah, the mechanics of the fire translate directly to public safety risks. If those communication towers in New Mexico go down, you lose the ability to coordinate emergency alerts or evacuations.
Wow, yeah.
You essentially lose the structural command we were just talking
The
about.
logistics just totally fall apart.
Exactly.
It really puts into perspective why this global relay race of resources is so critical right now. We basically hand the baton to the Southern Hemisphere when we run out of breath.
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
But this raises an important question based on this report.
What's up?
Well, we're heavily relying on those 270 personnel from Australia and New Zealand because our summer is their winter.
Right. Their fire season is dormant.
Right. We trade resources back and forth.
Yeah.
But global fire seasons are getting longer. So if shifting climate patterns cause the northern and southern hemisphere fire seasons to completely overlap,
Oh, man.
yeah, what happens to our wildfire defenses then? When the map is on fire everywhere in the world all at once, who do we call?
Wow, that is a chilling thought. Just totally uncharted territory.
It really is.